when Apple announced the app tracking transparency decision that rolled out with iOS update 14.5, it had marketers
freaking out
because they feared that the idea of tracking people through cookies and through website data and then using that data to advertise to them on Facebook seemed to be going away. But when it comes to your video marketing strategy, and in particular video advertising on Facebook, the good news is there's still a lot we can do. G'day, I'm Ben Amos from Engage Video Marketing and host of the Engage Video Marketing podcast. And on this channel, I share tips, tricks, and strategies to help you engage your ideal audience to action through effective video marketing strategy. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you an extract from a longer interview I did with Facebook advertising guru Andrew Hubbard from Hubbard Digital here in Australia. And we're going to be diving into the impact that the iOS 14.5 and in particular the app tracking transparency decision is potentially going to have on your video marketing strategy. So if you've been unsure about the way that this decision is going to be impacting the effectiveness of your video ads or the video marketing that you're doing across Facebook and across Instagram, then this video is for you. So here we go. Let's hear from Andrew Hubbard from Hubbard Digital as I asked him more about the impact that iOS 14.5 will have on video marketing.
So let's look at let's look at one particular use case now and how I'm changing that in my business and for the clients that I work with, and sort of what that's going to look like in this new age of advertising. So something that we would often do is send traffic to websites. Let's say we have blog posts or podcast interviews and things like that, and we might create a Facebook ad and send people off to that stuff. We could then retarget them off the back of that, do lots of really creative things with our advertising based on that behavior off-site. Even things like people going to a store and looking at products like I mentioned earlier. But since that's going away, we're looking at ways to adjust and ways to shift that. And video is becoming a huge part of that because of what we talked about earlier. Because now with video on the platform, that still can be tracked perfectly. Now, this is just to be really clear, as long as you're uploading the video natively on the Facebook platform. If you're linking to videos off platform, that's different ballgame. But if you're uploading videos natively to your Facebook page, then that can all be tracked by Facebook, by Instagram, no problem whatsoever. So instead of doing things like, maybe sending to blog posts or sending to a podcast interview and all that kind of thing, the way we're shifting now is we'll just run videos. And instead of sending to a content that's in a blog post, maybe we'll just run a video with content and doing more and more videos. And then we can retarget based on if somebody's watched 30 seconds of a video or 25% or 50%. So we've always done that, but we're shifting to that more and more because now we can use those audiences based on the video views, and we can do smart retargeting that way. So yeah, it's really going to become a big part, I think, of our strategies. And the podcast interview example, we might have linked to a podcast on iTunes and then retargeted people who listen to that podcast. Well, that's no longer an option. So we'll be taking snippets from podcast interviews now and running those much more heavily in the feed, because then we can retarget people who then watch that video. I think it's also going to be a bit of a win for a lot of marketers who are using those kind of strategies, because I can tell you a video view on the platform is much cheaper than a click off to a website or a click off to iTunes to listen to a podcast and things like that. So that's just one example, one way that video marketing is actually benefiting from this. And I think people who are using video and even those who aren't, and start shifting to it, are going to see an actual uptick from that.
Yeah, so effectively you're using cheap paid video views shown to a wider, less nuanced audience, because you can't necessarily, you can to an extent, because not everyone's opting out, right? So you can set some audience parameters and so on.
Yep.
But typically you're going to go cast a wider net, right, with your video. But then by crafting the first stage of this video funnel effectively in the right way, that, like, I kind of liken it to a wolf whistle, right? It's the idea of if you have a noise at a certain pitch, it attracts the certain person, right, to get them into your content, just like a wolf whistle or a dog whistle, And the idea is if you can get the right people to engage with that video to that threshold of, say, through play or 30 seconds, 25%, whatever it may be, then they're showing very strong indicators that they're interested in that content. Build your custom audiences from video views. And you're kind of doing the same thing as what retargeting using website traffic used to do, but probably in a cheaper and more effective way. Am I interpreting that right?
100%. That's a really good summary. Yep, that's exactly right. So we're taking that strategy, that we might have been paying 20, 30, 40 cents a click to a website and then going, okay, well, they went and read that blog post. That shows that they're interested in this topic. Let's retarget them. Where this way we're doing essentially the same thing with video, but we're going, hey, they watched 30 seconds of this video on this topic, which means they're really interested, because 30 seconds is a long time on Facebook. The average video view time is like 7 seconds or something. And then we can retarget them based on that. And it's, a video view costs maybe 2-3 cents. 30 seconds is going to cost you more, like 10 cents maybe if it's a good video. But yeah, that's exactly what we're doing.
And there's no other way to show interest like video views, right? Like you can't set up a custom audience in another way. Am I correct in that? Well,
so you can.
In another way that shows levels of interest, like how much they watched a video. Or is there another way to do that? You can,
but nothing has the same strength if I put it that way. So, I can target people who've engaged with my Facebook page or engaged with my Instagram account.
Or comments and,
Exactly, like any type of engagement. So maybe, if I say I want to target people who've engaged with any post on my Instagram account in the last 30 days, I mean, I can do that, but I know from experience that if I target an audience, everyone who's engaged on Instagram, a heart on an Instagram post does not carry the same weight as watching 30 seconds of a video. It's not even a close comparison. And so that's why, the retargeting is powerful, but it also factors into lookalike audiences now, and we're using it more heavily for lookalike audiences as well. I can create a lookalike off everyone who's liked my Instagram posts, but I can tell you that's not going to be a great lookalike to use compared to a lookalike of people who've watched, more than a minute of my videos. That's going to be a much stronger lookalike audience as well, just because the quality of that engagement is so high.
I love that. I think that's so powerful, and obviously just really emphasizes the power in using video creative in your ads there.
Yeah, I mean, one more example I'll give you, something that I've been doing lately, and this was actually something I learned from YouTube. I kind of took this from YouTube and thought, I'm going to apply this to Facebook ads. There's a guy, Roberto Blake, on YouTube, and what he was doing was using 60-second shorts, and he would create all of these 60-second shorts that were essentially around a particular topic. So he would create these shorts, and they would just be little snippets around, let's say, what's a topic we could use as the example here? Growing an email list. He could talk about, hey, I grew my email list by 10,000 people, in 6 months, and I, did this one thing. This was one of the things I did, blah, 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 in a 60-second video. And then at the end, kind of mentioned that he's got a whole video on, the journey of how he implemented all of this. And it would kind of lead back to one of his main YouTube videos. So he would do a main YouTube video on a bunch of these 60-second shorts, and each short would be sort of more result-based. This is the result we got. This is the result. And then if you want to see the full system, how we got there, go check out the video. So we're just implementing a similar system with Facebook, and it's fantastic because we can just create a bunch of 60-second videos, and those videos can run on Instagram because they're so short. They can run on Instagram, Facebook, all of those placements, Instagram stories, Facebook stories. And then we can if somebody watches 90% of one of those 60-second videos, then we retarget them with the longer video that's sort of the bulk of the content, that how-to, or the big long video that might be 4, 5, 6 minutes long. And so you're doubling up on those really positive engagement signals. They're watching nearly all of a 60-second video, and then you're showing them something again that they're interested in. So they might watch 2 or 3 minutes of that, and you can sort of keep building on that and just take them on that journey through Facebook. So yeah, we're losing some off-platform retargeting stuff, but it's encouraging us to do creative things like that with our video marketing on the Facebook platform as well, and it's actually bearing fruit.
I think that's really interesting, and I love that idea of those shorts or those shorter pieces of content are kind of like again, using that fishing analogy, it's kind of like throwing out different pieces of bait, right? And seeing where people are going to nibble or bite to come into that single piece of main content. And you could probably, really use that as a bit of a split test as well, right? To kind of, I guess, find your audiences. If you're not sure which audience is going to resonate best, you can, or which messaging is going to resonate best, and you can do it that way, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's another really powerful way to do it. I mean, you could have a video on, let's say, 10 tips, to improve your video marketing for a small business or something. And you could break out each one of those tips as a 60-second video. And then each one's slightly different messaging. And then, it leads back to the main video. And you can really quickly see which one of those things people are most interested in. And you can double down on that for your next videos and your next pieces of content and stuff like that. There's all kinds of ways you can do it. Absolutely.
So you talked there about the, funneling people through a process to take them into, say, a longer, more valuable piece of content using some of those shorter pieces of content. And I believe you're referring to there, showing them a longer piece of content on platforms, say on Facebook. Yep. There's obviously going to be a time and a place where that's not the right type of content to be a Facebook video, right? So at what stage are we still going to want to move people off platform to somewhere else, to a website, to a landing page? And what happens then? Do we effectively lose them?
Yeah, so I still think at the moment, we're still going to need to send people off platform for things like lead generation. So if we want to collect an email address, send them off to opt into something, or to purchase. Eventually you're going to want them to purchase something, and we're still going to have to send them off platform at the moment to do those things. And I'll circle back on this. I'll finish this thought and then we can circle back on this because I think that will change over time too. I've got a couple of sort of theories on that. But you're going to want to send them off platform. And it's not all bad news there either. So basically, if you send them off platform and you send them to a landing page and ask them to enter an email address and opt in, let's say they've opted out of tracking. In that case, we can actually still track one conversion event for that user. Meaning, if we send them off platform, they've opted out of tracking, but we send them off platform to our website, they opt in, we can still track them as a lead on Facebook. But we can only track one conversion event. Meaning, let's say if we sent them off site to our shop and they added an item to the cart, which is one event, conversion event, and then they initiated the checkout, which is another event, and then they purchased from you, which is a third event. Previously, we could see all of those events in Facebook. We could see, we just had one add to cart, one initiate checkout, and one purchase. Now, Facebook says, this person's opted out of tracking. We can show you one event. We can track one event. And so you can go into Facebook now. You have to set this up. It's called aggregated event measurement, and you set the priority for your conversion events. So you essentially go in and you say, well, purchase is my highest priority, initiate checkout's my second highest, and then add to cart is my third highest, for example. Facebook is going to show you the highest priority event that you've set. So in that example that I showed you, if they purchased, it would just show you the purchase. If they opted in for a lead, an email address, and you just had a lead, and that's the only event, it would show you the lead. So yeah, it still gives us a little bit of data. It's not all doom and gloom.
There you go, guys. So it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, if you're focused on video as a method of marketing to your ideal audience, then I would say that you're in a better position than ever before. So I hope you found that video useful and helped you gain clarity on the impact that the app tracking transparency decision could potentially have on your business. Reach out to me, hit me up in the comments if you've got any questions at all. And of course, after this video, I want you to watch this video right here next, because I'm going to go deeper into the role that video marketing can play within your business, and you're going to learn a lot more right here. So I'll see you over in that video real soon.